What up, football family? Welcome to the Fantasy Football Show. I am your host, PL Culture. All right, it's week 14, ballers and ballettes, and it's the moment we've all been waiting for. The fantasy football playoffs are finally upon us. We told you in week one, if you stick with us through the regular season, we get you here, and voila, we're here. So congratulations to all of you who are in the fantasy football afterlife, and I wish you nothing but the best of luck going forward in your playoffs. Now, what we're going to do this week is we're going to profile several players who put up big numbers in the regular season, but missed the last few weeks and just happened to be making their return right in time for the playoffs. We'll let you know if this guy is good to go in your lineup to get you to the next round, or if he should stay on your bench one more week to see exactly what he has. All right, let's get started. Now, we're going to start with the game of the weekend, the New York Giants at the Dallas Cowboys, and profile running back Ahmad Bradshaw from the New York Giants. Now, he'd been out with a foot injury for the last several weeks. Came back last week in a limited role against the Green Bay Packers. Put up less than 50 yards rushing, but he was splitting time, and he was getting back acclimated. Now, after the game, he did say that his foot felt fine, and he's a safe bet to be a starter this weekend in Dallas, and a safe bet to be in your lineup. He's an absolute beast when healthy. He can run. He can catch the ball. He even stays in on goal line carries with that big bruising ball of softness that plays behind him. We're not even. I digress. I'm not going to go off on the tangent on him today. It's just if you're a Giants fan or an Ahmad Bradshaw owner, you definitely want to get that brother back into your lineup this week. He should be fantasy football gold for you. Now, looking across the sideline at Miles Austin, still wide receiver for the Dallas Cowboys, he's also missed several weeks. Tried to make a comeback with a hamstring injury, injured himself again, and sat out another few weeks. Now he's scheduled to make his return in this crucial game as well. Yeah. About Miles Austin, bruh or sis, you may not want to put him in your lineup for two very good reasons. Well, actually three. Number one is the playoffs, and there is no tomorrow if you lose. Number two, we know how those hamstring injuries can be. Just ask Andre Johnson. Miles Austin really hadn't practiced a lot in the last several weeks, so we're not sure what his game speed condition will be, and we're actually not sure if he'll be trusted with the full onslaught of the offense because he has missed so much time in such a critical game. And the third and most pressing reason why you may want to stay away from Miles Austin this week only is because of Mr. Laurent Robinson, who has been absolutely on fire in Miles Austin's place. I can envision a scenario where there's enough balls to go around for Miles Austin to be a contributor, but not a playoff contributor. If you own Laurent Robinson because you picked him up when Miles Austin went down, you definitely want to go with Robinson this week. He has great rapport with Tony Romo, and he is a touchdown machine. Given the choice between the four receivers that Dallas profiles, Jason Witten, Dez Bryant, Miles Austin, and Laurent Robinson, Austin looks like the odd man out this week. Sorry, Cowboys fan. Got to keep it real. Now, we'll move on to Mr. Santana Moss, wide receiver of the Washington Redskins. Now, he broke his hand several weeks ago and missed considerable action. Came back last week against the Jets and put up a respectable 5 catches for 43 yards. Now, again, that's respectable when you consider that he came back from injury and he was stuck on Revis Island, some of the time, and it's not like the guys are scrubs on the other side of the field. So he was going up against a tough pass defense. This week, he draws the worst pass defense in the league in the New England Patriots, giving up over 300 yards a game passing. So Santana Moss, just like the Indianapolis Colts did last week, should be in line to get a bunch of garbage points, a bunch of garbage yards, maybe a couple of garbage TDs at the end of the game, just as Pierre Garçon. Now, with no Fred Davis, everybody knows that he's out because he can't put down those recreational drugs. I digress. He's out, so that means even more opportunities and targets for Santana Moss. So it's a perfect time for Moss to be back in your lineup. And as far as the garbage points, this isn't the Super Bowl. This is the fantasy football playoffs. One man's garbage time trash could wind up being your playoff treasure. Get that brother into your lineup, right? Now, moving on to another wide receiver that made a return after a long hiatus was Mr. Malcolm Floyd, wide receiver of the San Diego Chargers. Now, last Monday night, Floyd returned to the lineup and put up a great 108 yards receiving and a touchdown against a Jacksonville pass defense that's actually ranked fourth in the league. So it's not like he was going up against a bunch of scrubs. We all know that the Chargers offense had been struggling, which actually led to their losing streak that they were on. But peep this. This past Monday night was the first time that we saw Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates, Vincent Jackson, and Malcolm Floyd in the offense all at the same time since, well, let's just say it's been a long time. And the offense looked similar to what it looked like last year when they were first in the league in total offense. Now, with San Diego being in a desperate place right now, they're going to have to throw the ball, which bodes well for Mr. Malcolm Floyd. He looks fully healthy for a change. I digress. You know, I can't promise you 3-4 weeks down the line, but the playoffs is only for a short window. So, in this regard, get Floyd in your lineup. It certainly doesn't hurt that the Buffalo Bills give up 250 yards a game passing, and it looks like they've already put a stamp on it and mailed it in for the season. So, Malcolm Floyd will be a safe bet to get back into your lineup this week. Play that, brother. All right. Now, we'll stick in the NFC East and profile another couple of studs who've put up, good numbers through the regular season and making their return just in time. That will be a couple of Philadelphia Eagles by the name of Michael Vick and Jeremy Maclin. About Michael Vick and Jeremy Maclin. Don't you do it. Don't you put them in your lineup this week. Speaking of putting a stamp on it and mailing it in, I mean, they got some of that metered mail. They didn't even put a 40 or 50 cent stamp on there. They got the whole big shebang on there in one of those big inner office envelopes. I'm sorry, it was a long day at work. I digress. But you definitely want to stay away from these two guys. I mean, for one, Vick has been out. He had cracked ribs and, actually broken ribs and wasn't able to be very mobile. And mobility is a part of his game. Now, just ask me what wasn't wrong with Jeremy Maclin. I mean, he had a little bit of everything dinged up on him. And they really have nothing to play for. I mean, they're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, but we all know that this is just for statistics and trying to trigger bonuses, which doesn't bode well when you're playing a team that's been on fire like the Miami Dolphins, especially on defense. Just ask the Oakland Raiders last week. So if you're an owner of Michael Vick or Jeremy Maclin, you better give them a week to see what they got, especially Vick at quarterback. I mean, that's a very crucial position where you can accumulate or fall behind a bunch of points trying to take a chance on somebody that did well 8 weeks ago. So if you got any of those two guys in your lineup, you may want to take a chill pill. Whoever you've been replacing them with to get you into the fantasy football playoffs, roll with them for another week and see exactly what they can do against a good defense like Miami. Now, moving on to our Homer Alert pick for this week. And I want to give a shout out to Mr. Rodrigo Alcaraz for this one. He was absolutely on the money with this. And speaking of which, shouts out to you making the playoffs. I just whipped my pants. Now, he says this week, and I totally agree, if you are a fan of the Arizona Cardinals, if you're still on that high from that ridiculous, wacky victory over the Cowboys last week, if you're still floating that high from the 200-yard performance that Mr. Beanie Wells put up a couple of weeks ago, followed by another decent performance last week and another touchdown, please be on Homer Alert. This week, Beanie Wells has the absolute worst matchup of anybody in fantasy football going up against the San Francisco 49ers defense, who happens to be giving up less than 72 yards rushing a game. In the NFL, 72, really? You're giving up less than 72 yards rushing and still have not given up a touchdown all season. We're in week 14 and they haven't given up a touchdown all season. Now, last week we told you to put Steven Jackson in the garage and park him, and he cranked out 19 yards rushing. He's much better than Beanie Wells. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you do it. Don't you play that brother this week. Put him on your bench. He is our Homer Alert. Now, that concludes Week 14, the Week 1 playoff version of the Fantasy Football Show. Again, I certainly do appreciate each and every viewer that tuned in this year. And with you being in the playoffs, I certainly wish each and every one of you the best of luck. Now, if two of you are watching us playing each other, hey, I'm just rooting for a competitive game. If you're going to go down in a shootout. You know what I'm saying? So, as we always conclude, we like to tell you that life is a sport, so always play to win. You can hit me up on Twitter. That's at PL Culture. Again, that's at PLCOLTER. I want to send a shout out to my man Danny Padilla, aka Diddy DeVito, for showing love on the Amar Bradshaw pick, and also for showing y'all some love on the Tim Tebow pick last week. I know some of y'all picked him up and eased on in those playoffs as that 8 seed. I know you did. I know you did. That's what we're here for. No thanks needed. We're glad to do it. All right, it's your boy PL. I'm out. Good luck and God bless.